Dean DeLaley is on the phone now. He was at Becky Palooza. He left, and he went over to cover this for WRMN last night and stayed till the very end. Dino trying to make a difference here in the community and with WRMN. And we'll see what his general thoughts were from taking it all in last night. Good morning, Dino.
Good morning. How are you, Marky?
I'm okay, man. How you feeling?
Never better.
Yeah?
Woke up early this morning, already out on the trail. So.
Yes, sir. Well, last night you hung in there. You went over to the city council meeting, and I don't know, just leaving that whole thing and sitting there for a couple of hours. Did you gather some general thoughts from it all?
Yeah, as much as I didn't want to leave last night, because I must say first, what a great outpouring of love and togetherness that was at the American Legion. George, as always, steps up and helps one of our own, Becky Blue.
Yeah.
And it was just a great atmosphere. Had opportunity to talk to people, and that felt nice and everything. But, they told me of what was going on at the council meeting last night. And I said, well, you know what? That's pretty important, too. So I hope nobody was offended of my early dismissal from the fundraiser. But I felt it best that, I get out there and at least try and see what was going on, because as a lot of the people, our listeners know, we tried to put together a panel to help, lack of a better word, problem solve. We invited people to have their comments. We had people on the panel that were definitely versed in what was going on, some outreach people, the boots on the ground people. Hate that expression, but sincerely, they are boots on the ground people that were giving, insight and comments. So all of that being said, to try and recap it into last night, it was a nice meeting. It was a long meeting. You had some news media cameraman was there in the beginning, but he had left early on.
Okay.
So I think he realized that he was able to do what you could do, get everything off of the website, because it's no different than him being there. There was no one for him to interview.
Yeah.
So I think he probably took your lead and said, you know what, I can get this on the website, which is nice. You have to admit it's nice that most cities, and City of Elgin as well, they're pretty, transparent in their meetings, because it's all televised and broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
I give them a lot of credit. But as far as the feeling in the room, you saw the three people that came up and addressed. One happened to be a resident of Tent City. There was a few other Tent City residents that nobody really saw off camera. They were in the crowd, pretty quiet during the meeting and everything. But, there was the advocacy groups there, which said what they felt. The one comment about how the place is roach and bed bug infested. Okay. And then the city manager said that there was no city violations that he was aware of. So I imagine they are making inspections over there. But that's an easy cure. Just get an independent inspector and say, hey, if there really is no problem and there is no violations, let's just have somebody check it out and be done with it. And then both sides could say, okay, take that off the list. I think that the city did a good thing to try to resolve this in the best way they can. I don't know the deep backstories as of yet, and I am starting to do some research on it so I can get the right answers and, report back properly. But the city at least took the position that this is becoming a hazard to, not necessarily property, but there is people's property that is there, but, to health and safety. 2 fires within a 2-week period, it's cause for alarm, and they did respond to that.
Yeah.
I think pretty well. I think they're responding to everybody's comments. I know that the city has been working on this because of other conversations I've now been a part of and made calls on. The police chief and fire chief are both on this panel, which to me is reassuring because I think they're pretty straight shooters overall. They have their job to do, and there's only so much they can tell. But I think they have hearts, and I think that they want this to go in the right direction. There was a woman in the seats, not on the panel, that I know she's working with the city manager and that new Monica, is that her name? Not Monica.
Jenna?
Yes, her.
Yeah.
So I know she's working to try to get a solution, a good solution, because this is only temporary for the cold weather.
Right.
You know, while this safety hazard exists. So I don't know what long term it's going to do. They did have a gentleman that showed what the boundaries were, what the property lines were for Elgin, city of Elgin, and how they were going to bring that back to really the property that it should be, you know, for its natural habitat, so to speak. So that was a nice presentation, very costly. So all of this that is going on, whether they're getting grants from Kane County or not, is very costly to the city, and they're trying to do, I think, the best that they can. Bringing them to this Lexington, is that the right thing to do? They'll be safe temporarily. You could argue that bed bugs and roaches, as opposed to the elements that are out in the wild on a regular basis. So how do you balance them? You know, is that what they were doing? I don't think so. But I think that they are trying to do something to help these folks, and these folks do need help. After the meeting, because everybody saw what happened during, and you've already reported, I did offer our radio station, once again, as a forum to the liaison folks that came out, and advocacy helps, I should say, that tried to do some good. And there was an Angela Alden that was there. Live for Lolly, I think, is the name of the group. And she's a Kane and DuPage County outreach coordinator. So I had given her a card. There was a couple of the people from the tent city, a couple men and women that I gave my phone contact information to, as well as that woman that's working on the panel representing the city, that if they need a platform and they need to get messages out, we're 100% in. We're all in to help the Fox River Valley, in particular, in this situation, the city of Elgin. We're big supporters of the city of Elgin, and they're doing something to help people. Use our watts of power to get the message out. So, ironically, 3:10 in the morning, I got a phone call from one of the residents. It was a gentleman, and he gave me a whole list of things of what his take is of what's going on out there. He says, while he appreciates what's happening, he feels it more of a excuse to rid the area of the tent city. And, you know, he made some pretty serious allegations, and I'm not even going to discuss them on the air until I give opportunity to who he's making these comments about, you know, share that with them. And if they could clear it up for me, that would be great. Because as I told the gentleman on the phone, we would do at WRMN the best we can to get to the bottom of the concerns. And there was a list of concerns that he had, and see if we can shed some light on them to maybe the city if they're unaware of it, and further work together on this program. Our goal is to assist with this homeless situation. A lot of people's goal, I think, is to just rid the city of this tent city, but you're talking 30 years at least of, you know,
build up
being there. Yeah. So I mean, not even so much build up, but just, you know, having a place to stay. And, you know, you hear some of what he's arguing and some of what he's saying, you know, some of it does make sense. You know, we heard, and I heard it firsthand now, of the people that, like, want to live, if you want to call it, outside.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people were offended because the city may have said, well, if they had some mental outreach, maybe they would recognize and realize that living outside, you know, isn't the best thing for you. Okay. Again, I can see both sides of that coin. If you're a true outdoor person, you think that's okay and normal. There's nothing mentally wrong with you. Now, the majority of us look at it like, well, that isn't normal. You know,
right.
Why would you want to choose to live outside? But for their own reasons, they have that position. And that's why, I like to take, again, benefit of the doubt, and let's see what those reasons are. But clearly, you can't be on, whether you want to call it city property, private property, easement property, because the one person said, well, how can I have no right to just take my claim of where I'm staying down here? I said, because it's not yours.
Right.
It's not your property. It'd be like you just going to live in someone's backyard. And he said, well, what about the train that goes through? We can stay there. I says, no. I says, you're kind of wrong on that too. And I don't have the exact. But if it is Elgin's property, which is what the one representative did indicate, so you have that area that's Elgin property. The train going through, just by way it's a federal train track, you have to give what's called easement or right-of-way to the train to go through. It doesn't mean that they could go now and be on that easement. The easement is given to the railroad company, not to just the general public to live in that area. And again, I use the analogy of your home, your backyard, you have the telephone poles, whether it be power, gas lines, whatever goes through your backyard. When you buy your home, there's what's called an easement. And the easement allows work to be done in the event that those power items should fail. I mean, this is just summary. I'm not, I'm no attorney. I'm just trying to give you what I do know because of where I work and insight. So, there's always two sides, really three sides to every story. Yours, mine, and the truth. So I know we're getting ready to the bottom of the hour. That's a quick synopsis. So there's a lot to be heard and a lot to be shared, and we're going to do that, and we'll do the best. If they want our input, we're happy to give it, and that's that.
Well, thank you, Dean, for going last night. Thanks for your input now, and we look forward to more of it as we continue our talks about it and helping try to find the solutions here at WRMN.